And welcome to ABS. Good morning, Anambra. My name is Ajulu Chuku Okabwe.
And my name is Nonya Nwokoye. So glad to have you join us again today. And thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, thank God it's Friday.
All right, how are you? Hope you had a wonderful night's rest. We did. You can see our faces beaming. All right, we thank God for a blessed day, and it's going to yield all its increase to you, yes, you watching. And we welcome you to the press review. That's what we are beginning with, but that will be just after this short break.
We'll start by introducing our guests for today's newspaper review. And in the studio, we have Ejike Abata. Good morning, Ejike. How are you doing?
Good morning. It's a wonderful morning, and I'm happy to be here.
You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. By the way, it's the 7th day of February.
Yeah, the first
7th
Saturday.
already.
Yeah, first Friday.
All right. Okay, we begin with taking a look at some of the stories making the headlines on ABS website.
And the first story we have this day is Anambra State Government assures of justice for murdered Anambra lawmaker Justice Azuka. Soludo urges community leaders to promote peaceful coexistence. Anambra Assembly Speaker Udeze Mons lawmaker Azuka calls for justice. Residents of Inland Town Onitsha mourn demise of murdered Anambra lawmaker Justice Azuka. Anambra State Local Government Service Commission Chairman Iziaka lauds Agune Chamber operatives for living up to expectations. Anambra PPSSC Chairman Ikedogu asks principals to extend skills, entrepreneurial skills subject to junior classes. Education Minister proposes 12-year basic education model in Nigeria. Reps Committee proposes creation of 31 new states. And last but not the least, U.S. President Trump sanctions ICC.
You know, in that headline, a lot of headlines there attributed to the late lawmaker, and in fact, the whole state, not just Onitsha, was thrown into mourning yesterday. Not just that he died, but the way and the manner his body was found. What a tragic end.
It's quite unfortunate. It was a gory sight to behold. I understood he was shot in the head, and it doesn't speak well of Anambra State, whichever we want to look at it, because this is a sitting lawmaker who has been abducted and murdered. Two sitting lawmakers now, so we do not know who is next. But the good thing is that the state government is beginning to stem the tide, and we are beginning to see results. So we only hope that whatever they are doing, they should be proactive and not reactive, so that we won't. The investors are watching, both within and outside the state. They are watching. They are beginning to, if people who are within the corridors of power could be so murdered, then what about ordinary persons? So it's a sad one, and he's a young man. His life has been cut short. Despite it's heart-wrenching. You know, I heard he paid $100 million ransom, and yet they killed him. And I also heard the people who did this are not more than 30 years of age. So there's a whole lot of things that needs to be done.
You can imagine that that young boy and what he was saying.
That's what I'm saying. There's a whole lot of things. We need value reorientation, bring morals, because we've lost it. And of course, it's not just in Anambra State. We've lost it. So there's a whole lot that needs to be done. Government has a role to play. The church has a role to play. Families, especially parents, because that's where it starts. Parents, always bear children you can cater for God's sake. You don't tell us that children are gifts from God, and at the end of the day, at 10 years old, the child is outside fending for himself. That's how it starts. So if bear children you can take care of, you mustn't have 5 children. You reach very wealthy people who have 1, 2 children. They are not stupid. So I wonder why a man or a family who is struggling, finding it difficult to get 1 square meal a day, is having 4 or 5 children at home. So it's
indeed,
a
lot needs to be done. The society has turned into what we don't know or we can't even explain. Yesterday I was so emotional about the whole situation. You'll be hearing this, you thought you've had it all. You open another page and see a more terrible story, coming out. All right.
Let's pick these 2 stories and put them together because they are related. I was talking about the Anambra SSC chairman, Ike Diwugo, asks principals to extend skills entrepreneurial subjects to junior classes. And then the other one is the education minister proposing 12-year basic education model in Nigeria. We've longed for it for a long time, and
even the new money they wanted to add to the budget. Where did they show us where they added the one for education sector? I don't know.
Well, it all behoves on the president. So much money was he requested to be added to the budget. We don't know which sectors those
they've added to solid mineral.
So as regards the model, we know it's high time we change. In Nigeria, it is 664 system. It's long overdue. It's high time we changed it, and let us show it to reflect the realities of the time. And entrepreneur, it's a given. Even for Nigeria, present-day Nigeria, it's high time we started inculcating them in our education system, because nobody is willing to give you a job. So most persons are fending for themselves. We are almost in a capitalist economy. So it's high time we started teaching people how to stand on their own, even when they must have been done with at least basic education, so that you don't sit idle waiting for a job that doesn't exist, and even if it does exist with result for 1% of the 1% in the society. So it's not about speaking it. Let them. It should be put into work. The education model should be changed. The 12 years is a good one, but the curriculum as well should, because what we have here, whether we like it or not, especially in government-owned schools, are outdated curriculum. So we need to change a whole lot of things in the education system.
All right. We hope those in positions of authority, especially in the education sector, are watching and taking notes of what is being said here for changes to happen sooner than expected. Now we move to the first paper, the Punch newspaper, for a review this morning. The banner headline in front of the Punch says, ex-National Assembly members groups fault Rep 31 new states proposal. We have a right there. Senators insist focus should be on states' viability. Afenifere Pandef call for true federalism. Obiagbena GHL file appeal against a favorable High Court ruling, and fresh price hike looms as MPA plans 15% tariff increase. Tinubu Mbeki Gowon advocates homegrown solutions to Africa's challenges. Opposition plans unveiling of mega coalition June. Lagos installs a speed limit monitors, imposes 50,000 naira fine. PDP crisis. A Kimi's panel receives 30 petitions, summons Anyanwu Autumn. Now, every day we open our papers, we see one form of tariff increase or the other. I don't know if we will start increasing our own too. You know, I don't know.
It's like I said there the last time I came here. You know, every burden of government at every sector falls back on the people. It's like they just wake up and like, oh, we are having a shortfall in our revenue, and the next target is the people. So it's sad. Of course, we have the numbers. So they.
And if you can imagine the way it's coming, you know, it's coming in droves.
Yes,
they are talking about electricity
time.
tariff, talking about MPA, talking about toll gates, you know, being launched, talking about telecoms. Where do we run to?
All these things are hinged on 70,000 naira minimum wage. So if you look at this whole thing, you discover that Bola Tinubu played the NLC. Because the agreement they had then was that, okay, if you peg minimum wage at 70,000, there won't be hiking price of fuel. They were specific price of fuel. There won't be hiking. But both fuel, electricity tariff, and every other thing has been, their prices have been increased. And we are even hearing that there will be another increase in electricity tariff.
Of course.
So where do we go from here? Once they look at, they discover that they are having shortfalls, they decide.
Or maybe they thought you have recovered from the what they did before.
How can we recover? How can we recover? You know, I get bemused when I hear people say the policies of the federal government is okay. Very soon we'll begin to reap the benefits. This was what we had for 8 years under Buhari, for God's sake. We had exactly the same. So when are we? We're not even having a flicker of what to expect. And there's no timeline to these things. If you tell us, okay, in the next 5 years, in the next 4 years, I would have been done with whatever the reforms I'm making, and you begin to, but there's no timeline. So this thing we can continue to bear the brunt till the next 8 years, and another APC government comes in and tell us you continue from where Tinubu stopped. So it doesn't make sense at all. Okay. Government should understand that citizens are feeling very, very bad, and they can't afford basic things. Landlords are increasing rents at their own will, and there's nobody to call them to order. Everything now is hinged on the same 70,000 naira, and this is another reason I'm not.
And even what is 70,000?
That's the point I'm making. It's another reason why there will continue to be corruption in every sector, in civil society, in the market, in civil servants, in the market, everywhere. There will continue to be corruption because people are not getting enough.
Well, thank you for your submission there. The next paper for review this morning is the Guardian newspaper. And the banner headline is saying lawmakers push for 31 new states amid 11.47 trillion debt by existing ones. You also have there, federal government swaps 6334 education system with 12-4 model, scraps JSS and SSS. Hours after matriculation, Abuja Varsity VC governing council sacked. Additional, at 65, Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, Abiodun, Otedola brand AFDB president, Nigeria's best export. And we have fresh inflation concern as NPA raises port charges by 15%. On the grim picture, the grim realities in Southeast as government dictates funeral terms. Tinubu, go on. Mohammed charts paths to Africa's growth prosperity. PDP crisis, disciplinary committee invites Anyanwu Autumn as BOT directs National Working Committee to swear in Ude Okoye. We also have the IOC's divestment till environmental remediation is done, Reps tells federal government. Nigeria records world's highest road accidents, says Red Cross. Well, that could be as a result of bad roads. Quickly, let's see what we have on the Daily Independent so we can do both. TUC rejects tolling of highways, electricity tariff hike. Says federal government implementing policies without engagement may mobilize for mass protests over federal government policies. 65% of inmates are awaiting trial, says NBA president. Wow. PDP crisis, Ikimi-led disciplinary committee summons Otom Anyanwu orders. Alleged 42.3 billion scam. Northern Christians give EFCC 72 hours to arrest El Rufai. Tinubu okays 65 years retirement age for clinically skilled health workers. Former NYSC DG General Tigard kidnapped in Katsina. Reps wants life imprisonment for fake drug producers and importers. Deputy Speaker Reps committee call for Nnamdi Kanu's release. Reps receive proposal for creation of 31 new states. Tension in Rivers community as cultists kill 5 persons. And that's all we have for you on the front pages of The Guardian and Daily Independent newspapers. Now, talking about this 31 new states proposal to create 31, new states with impending 11.47 trillion debt with the existing 36 that we have. Does this really show that this is a country that is actually serious? Or is it with this antecedent that we are projecting to have a $1 trillion economy by 2030?
When I saw that news yesterday, I laughed because if 31 plus 36, you give it 67, which is not viable. It's not even possible in today's Nigeria. So we know states may be created. They may be created. These are proposals. At the end of the day, they might cut them down to 5 or 7 or what have you. But definitely, there's no way we'll have them 31. That is, if at all, the states will come in the next 5 years. Because I don't, state creation under a democracy such as we practice in Nigeria may not be possible. If you cast your mind back, you recall that every state that has been created in Nigeria was under the military and fiat. And having said that, it's also, you look at places side by side creation of or establishment of universities by government. You have universities that are underfunded. Then, for the sake of politics, you create another university, whereas the ones you have already, you are not funding them well. It's the same thing that is almost playing out now. You have states that are indebted to the tune of 11 trillion, and you want to create more states. Where will you get the resources to finance those states? It doesn't make sense at all. Where will you get the finance to run the states? So it's not just and the things we do in Nigeria is not because it's not because we want to do it to cater for the citizens. No, we do things because we want to settle some persons who are in government. If you look at those who are proposing this state, you discover that most of them are even doing it for their own personal reasons. I can tell you 1 or 2 states that has been pushed by a single individual without even consulting people who are within yes, without consulting, they just wake up because
a town hall meeting
they don't whether the people want it or not. They just wake up because they find themselves in their House of Assembly. You submit a proposal. It doesn't work like that.
There's this thing I want to bring out here as a journalist. The way some journalists cast their headlines, you begin to wonder. This issue of NPA tariff. You know, we saw that earlier in the Punch, where the headline says fresh price hike looms. Then the Guardian says fresh inflation, you know, fresh inflation concern as NPA raises. So already they have raised the tariff. They are not planning to raise it. But one paper will tell you that fresh hike, they are planning to raise hike it. Now, it means that when we look at our papers and see that there are plans for certain things, the thing is already in existence. Why they are saying is still, you know.
The thing is, the reason why that happens, I can say because I've had that experience. When you are in the newsroom, before your newspaper goes to bed, you know, information will keep flying in. And because some persons are not updated, you don't, if you are following a story, you follow that story to the letter, and find out the final before you publish. You might get an information at 4 p.m. that something is about to happen.
Before 6 p.m.
Before it has happened. So those who are following that news already know it has happened. They will change their headline. They may have casted as this thing is about to happen. But when it happens at 6 p.m., because they are following that story, they change their headline immediately and change the story. Whereas the person who is assuming that this thing will happen is not even aware that it has already happened.
And what's your advice to journalists in this regard?
What else if not to always
see your news to bed?
They see your news to bed and be updated. That's why you have newsroom. When you have monitors in newsroom, it's not for watching football and soap operas. It's for you to monitor news and follow that news. So it's people journalists or reporters who make such mistakes, they are usually penalized seriously because it's a dent to the image of the paper.
You can't be saying that something is about to happen when already it has happened. And it could be misleading. If somebody,
of course, it's misleading.
Somebody reads your paper and did not read the other papers, you know, the person will still be hanging.
It is misleading.
All right, let's run. The Blueprint newspaper is next in our lineup. Let's see stories from the Blueprint. Decomposing Anambra lawmaker Azuka's body found near Second Niger Bridge. Reps propose Lagoon, New Kaduna, Ekiti, Warri, 27 other new states. Okay, we move on. Ex-NYSC DG, Brigadier Siga, 11 others abducted in Katsina. Tolling will enhance Nigeria's road infrastructure. Are they serious? Taye Taiwo, inducted into Marcel's Hall of Fame. NMPC Limited, first year and PJV achieves 96% reduction in gas flaring. Now, weekend promo, the evolution of Zazzau Emirate. Okay, other stories coming up. Move beyond slogans. Foreign dependence, Tinubu tells African leaders. PDP crisis, a Kimi-led disciplinary committee to grill Anyanwu Autumn, 10 others. NOA takes cerebrospinal meningitis awareness to Yobe. Tinubu sacks Uni Abuja VC, Maikudi, UNN 2 governing councils. Boko Haram, 7,790 Nigerians, refugees in Chad, return 10 years after. Okay, that's the story we are tracking in front of the Blueprint. Quickly.
Well, it's interesting seeing this Lagoon State. So we'll be having Lagos and Lagoon State side by side. That's interesting. New Kaduna, Etiti, that should be coming for Anambra.
Etiti?
Yeah,
Anambra.
Yeah, Etiti.
And it comprises of the five southeast states, somewhere around Okigwe, Omunze, and that area. That's where they have because it is within the center. That's why they named it Etiti State.
Okay.
The issue of tolling to enhance Nigeria's road infrastructure. Everything here boils down to, would I say, accountability. because the reason why Obasanjo removed tolling in the first place was because he said he knew that Nigerians were paying, but it was not reflecting in the ministry, and there was no money to use in rehabilitating most of those roads. So what's the essence when the money is being enriched? I mean, it's enriching few Nigerians. You understand? So that was why it was scrapped. Now the question is, what mechanism has the federal government put in place in order to make sure that this tolling that they are proposing would have accountability?
If you compare the level of corruption we have back then to what is obtainable now, it's covered that it's way, way higher than what we used to have back then. So whatever mechanism they might have put in place, we have civil servants who, unfortunately, I can't stop calling civil servants because that's one area where the corruption stinks. We have people who, at the end of the day, whichever mechanism you want to put, even if you put in the best of
metering system,
whatever you do there, something must happen. Something must happen.
What of camera to capture the number of cars that pass there with your metering system? Isn't
who operates the camera? Everybody is compromised, please. Everybody is compromised.
Who operates the camera?
I hope you are not brought what is it called at them secretaries here. A computer that captures you when you come and when you leave.
When you click in.
They poured water on it. You didn't hear that? That was how that machine packed up. So you are talking about camera. It's somebody that would sit and look at the cameras and monitor what is happening. The person is not an angel. That is not to say that we do not have people who are genuinely doing their jobs. But the question is, how many are they? And when the pressure comes, you either bow to the pressure or you bow out. When you are surrounded with people who are like minds in terms of...
They will even want you to get out from
what I'm saying is either you bow to them or you bow out. So it's a very, very Herculean. My problem is not even about how they manage it. The issue is
our roads being better.
When you borrow this fund, sometimes the budget for this road they are captured in our budget. Funds for doing this road are captured. At the end of the day, Nigerians are asked to pay for no problem. But let's have, and we do not know how long this will happen. Would we continue paying for toll for that? Because it's assumed that whatever money is gotten from those roads is used to pay back the loans that was gotten while constructing the road. So how long will this happen? For how many years will people pay? You can imagine paying 500 naira. So every day you pass there, you pay 500 naira for
1,000 now.
For saloon cars. Then the one with high duty vehicles is 1,600 naira. So and there are people who apply that route every day. So it's not for number one accountability. Where are we really? Because at the end of the day, remember, Nigerians get punished for the sins of very few. This is why we are told that fuel subsidy enriches a very small number. Why not go after those people, for God's sake? Do you have to punish 200 million Nigerians for the sins of very few people? This is why we keep suffering. If truly you are paying subsidy and you feel that this subsidy is enriching a few number of people, go after those people. Are they sacred cows? Can't you get them punished for
the law?
So are they above the law? So that is the issue.
Okay. The next paper, the Nigerian Tribune.
Next paper for review is the Nigerian Tribune and the Nation. The banner headline: MANTUC won over proposed hike in electricity tariff. Planned increase may lead to closure of more businesses. That's coming from MAN. Ill-timed, deliberate act of economic oppression against Nigerians, coming from TUC. MPA reviews port tariff by 15%. Oshun Adeleke engages 10,000 youth for Imole Youth Corps. Kogi Assembly bans foreigners direct access to cashew nut farmers. As African leaders, we must abandon foreign dependency. That's coming from Tinubu.
Beginning with him.
Yeah, we must abandon foreign dependency. Constitution review, reps receive requests for creation of 31 states to hold 12 regional, national public hearings. Well, let's wait and see what will happen. Lakurawa terror group. Senate orders fact-finding visit to Zamfara, Sokoto, and Kebbi states. Edo Guba, INEC closes case without calling witness. Okpebolo opens the defense on Monday. We've seen PDP disciplinary issue. Quickly, let's see what we have on the Nation newspaper. 32 proposals for new states before House of Reps panel. Federal government evacuates 7,790 refugees from Chad. Uni Abuja, UNN get new vice chancellors. Asset panel report. Obaseki left 682 billion debt in Edo. NBA panel reviews conflicting court judgments. PDP disciplinary committee summons Anyanwu and Otom. And that's all we have for this, the Nigerian Tribune and the Nation newspaper. Wow. Well, man is talking tough here. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and TUC, they are really talking tough about this proposed hike in electricity tariff. I think they should equally take it across board. Talking about the electricity tariff, the telecom tariff, this proposed already affected NPA tariffs too, because everything should just go hand in hand.
When Nigerians berated NLC for calling off their proposed protest against telecom, the price in telecom services, I felt bad because NLC, we are Nigerians, we all use these services. So this is not something that should be left alone for the NLC. More so, the kind of NLC that we have today, and the NLC that is a toothless parking dog. So it's the question I asked then was, what were journalists doing? Because I think journalists, number one, skit makers, number two, should be in the forefront of protesting. Number one, journalists use these telecom services more. In fact, we can't do without them. So I think journalists should have been at the forefront, and skit makers also, because this is where they earn a living. Nigerians watch whatever you put out online, and they click, they like, they share, and you earn your dollars. And this things happen, and they are keeping mute. So it's as if they do not care whether, because they know whatever happens, Nigerians will always find a way to adjust. The same thing is applicable to just what MAN and TUC are saying. It's not a fight that should be left for them alone, because just like NLC has almost going beyond its core mandate, which is to negotiate salaries and wages on behalf of workers and workers' welfare. NLC is beginning to delve into almost everything, because Nigerians are docile, Nigerians are naive. We do not want to stand up and ask questions. In fact, so many things, I don't know when we see, it seems we have not had enough, because they keep throwing everything at us. You wake up one day, you hear that there will be an increase in this. The next day, and nobody's even talking about increase in rent. Nobody's looking at, perhaps because it's not coming from government. Nobody's looking at that sector, because that one alone is choking. Now, the ones we know, electricity tariff, businesses will be affected, and it will further lead to, we keep talking about inflation. This is how inflation comes about, because it will lead to hike in prices of food and services.
All right, let's take the last two papers together. before we wrap up the show for now. The Daily Times and, of course, the Vanguard newspaper. On Daily Times, they say reps propose creation of, okay, we've seen that story for the upchange time. Autumn Anyanwu to face PDP disciplinary committee next week. The story is Edo governorship poll with no witness. INEC tells tribunal as it closes defense. Poverty ravages rural communities in Cross River. Group 6 release of 25 million naira counterpart funds to save pregnant women in Bauchi. German government dehumanizing Nigerian migrants. And that's it on Daily Times. We move now to the last paper, but not the least, on the program. And that is the Vanguard newspaper. Let's see stories from Vanguard. Uproar as IGP PSC clash over retirement of police officers. We have read as the IGP has no powers to stop PSC. Retired DIG is about self-preservation. Retired AIG. I don't see this as IGP rejecting our decision. PSC PRO affected 7 officers sue PSC. Okay, program stoppage, job losses, trail USAID funds freeze. That's fallout of Trump's executive order in Nigeria. Programs stoppage, job losses, trail USAID funds freeze. We have read as there USAID affiliated NGOs shutting down. Program disruptions from USAID fund freeze. I'll have negative impact on Nigeria. SZC now judge blocks Trump's executive order voiding birthright citizenship. Okay, to have negative impact. That's coming from SZC. Kano's release will bring peace. Reps panel speaking. Sharia will ignite war in Southwest. Chief Imam of Yorubaland. Man cautions against further hike in electricity tariff. And of course, on sports, on the 17 AFCON 2025 Nigeria's World Cup hopes dashed as CAF rules out golden eaglets. Okay, these are some of the stories. Okay, Minister pushes for. Okay, we've seen that before. That's it. I don't know.
I think with the crisis,
one story and we wrap up.
With the crisis going on with the PDP, it's obvious now that we do not have an opposition.
A strong opposition.
Not even strong. We don't have an opposition as it stands, yes. And it's an opportunity for the Labour Party, but the Labour Party itself is not in, they're not even putting their house in order. The problem with PDP now is no longer about Wike. It has shifted from Wike to another internal crisis who becomes the secretary, and Anyanwu contested for governor of Imo State and lost. And that was when Ude Okoye, who was the former youth leader of national youth leader, was brought in. And every BOT seems to have anointed Ude Okoye as the secretary of the party. But Anyanwu is insisting that he remains the secretary of the party. With everything that is happening now, it's obvious that we do not have, PDP cannot be counted, cannot stand to count as an opposition in Nigeria, even the Labour Party. And that is why the APC, or the party in government, is having a field day. Because there are no persons to challenge them. P2B used to, but not on the platform of Labour Party. He challenges them as an individual. I have not heard him speak for some time now. I wouldn't know why. So whatever PDP is planning, because PDP thinks, or they see themselves as the party to beat, they see themselves as the party that will rescue Nigeria from. But what we are seeing now, they need to put their house in order. And with everything that is happening now, Atiku has not said anything as regards the fight for the office of the secretary. The Nigerians will want to hear from him as the leader of the PDP. Let's know where he stands. And they should be able to put their house in order, for God's sake. And this is another reason why Nigeria should understand that whatever happens in Nigerian politics is not about the people. It's about their selfish interest. If not, why will Or why won't an individual within a party not step aside when a BOT says, okay, this is what we want you to do? You do not own the party. Nobody owns the party. The party is owned by everybody. But there are people who are in charge, who own the affairs of the party. And if they call you and say, okay, this is what we want you to do, that is what you are expected to do for the party. But when you begin to fight, there's certain fight that you put up, and it's obvious that you are not doing this in the interest of the people or in the interest of Nigeria, but in your own interest. So whatever happens, this would have been an opportunity for Labour Party to stand firm and have their voice heard again. But unfortunately, they're not taking the advantage of it.
They're not taking the advantage, and that's really sad. Well, that's the much we can actually take on this, the press review for this morning. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Abata, for availing us the opportunity to be here.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Well, we still have the other segment where we'll be discussing something relating to one of the topics that we picked from the newspaper review this morning. And I'm sure you definitely will be wondering what is that we want to be talking about. But don't go anywhere. And
don't forget his audience participatory. We expect you to go onto our Facebook page to drop your comment on any issue raised here on Good Morning Anambra Show. We will appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
See you at the other side.